We started our journey with Youth Church almost 3 years ago. What started back in 2019 as a series of pictures and lots of prayer is now a reality. And in 2022, our vision and values are still the same: to reach young people across Southampton, to raise them up as followers of Jesus, and to release them as influencers of culture. So what's been going on over the last year? Well, in spite of a challenging year with all the restrictions and lockdowns, we've still seen young people growing in their faith. Our small groups seem to have become more cemented and deeper than ever before. And yet on top of that, we've seen new young people coming along and even coming to faith, coming on a Friday and on a Sunday. One particular young person that springs to mind first appeared on a Friday night in September. He's journeyed with us and has been coming every Friday and Sunday since. In October he was baptised, and we were able to give him also his very first Bible. In March of this year, just a few weeks ago, we were on the Isle of Wight for our youth weekend away, and it was an incredible time, the first time we've been able to get away together for 3 years. But it was incredible to see God move amongst our young people, to see them ministering to one another, praying for one another, but just building that sense of family once again. The pandemic has been so hard to get young people from different year groups mixing because of all the various restrictions. And so the weekend away was such a great opportunity to get everyone all together in one place and just see that value of family right before our eyes. As well as our vision to reach, raise and release, more and more we're finding ourselves being called by God to resource others, other churches and other youth groups and other youth ministries. So over the last few months we've been in conversation with the diocese and with the deanery about how we might go about doing this. And we're finding there's three kind of key ways that we've been doing this over the last year, and we are going to continue to do this over the next year. Firstly is what we're doing with Youth Church. We're finding more and more that what we're doing is really pioneering a new model of doing church, a new way to do church that engages young people that not many places are doing. And so our hope is that by continuing to pioneer and to prioritise Youth Church, we will see different ways that churches can learn from that model, can learn from the way that we've done it, and we can share that learning with the wider church. The second thing that we've been doing is creating resources and creating content that we can share with other churches. We've done this in a number of ways over the last year. One way that worked really well in the autumn term is we've started doing our small group series as a video content that any small group leader can click play on the video, similar to the alpha style videos, with some simple questions that appear on the screen. That's how we run it for our young people. But suddenly we realized we had a resource that we can throw up online and share with other churches. We did a 4-part series in the autumn term called Rhythms, and we've shared that series in a number of places, and we've had over 15 churches get in touch to run that with their youth groups. We've just finished a small group series on the book of James that's a 6-part series done in a similar format. And so our hope is that these kind of resources will help other churches, will resource them in reaching and discipling young people. Another way we've been doing it is our monthly worship nights. We've started to open up to anyone from across the city, any young person, regardless of what church you go to, come and join us together to worship once a month. And off the back of this, we are now running something in July called Southampton Youth Festival. We are doing this in partnership with Ascension Church and St James by the Park, and hopefully a whole bunch of other churches. But it was recognising that getting young people away for a weekend can sometimes be so pivotal in their faith journey, and we wanted every young person to have that opportunity. So we've been able to come up with something that's super local, super affordable, and easy for any church, regardless of how many young people they have, to come and join us together and worship together. So look out for that. That's happening in July, the first weekend of July. And the third way we've been exploring this with the diocese and with the deanery is what it would look like to plant out again, to plant youth and youth church into another context, and to partner with other churches in order to develop and revitalise their youth ministry. So we've started conversations with a few individual churches. We've started discussing that with the deanery and the diocese, but watch this space as we see youth and youth church start to plant out from Highfield and go beyond. I'd love to share with you some really exciting news. This year marks 5 years of me being here at Highfield running the youth work. And when I first arrived here, I've always known that God was calling me into leadership in the church, calling me to lead a church one day. But when I arrived here at Highfield, I had a really strong sense from God of saying, don't rush away from where I've put you. Don't move on to the next thing, and kind of knuckle down and focus in on what I've called you to do, which was youth work. And so the first 3 years we saw some incredible growth in our youth ministry. It was just so amazing to be a part of that and to just be obedient to what God was doing. Coming through the pandemic, I felt that nudge again from God to explore the vocation process within the Church of England. And so in autumn of 2020, I began that journey. I was in conversation with the diocese about what it might look like to become a vicar and a church leader and to journey towards that. And in July of 2021, I was successfully recommended for training after what's called a Bishop's Advisory Panel, a BAP. It's a series of interviews where they recommend you or not for further training. So in July of 2021, I was through that process, which was really exciting news for us, but also left us in this weird place where it felt obedient to follow that call, but equally, I felt God's call on youth church really significant. I knew that God was calling us to start that. I don't think I've ever heard God speak so clearly to me. And so it felt disobedient to walk away straight away. There felt like there were these two things in tension. And so 2021 for me was marked with a real period of wrestling, of trying to be obedient to what God was calling me to, but wrestling with these, what seemed like two different things. At the end of 2021, we heard from the diocese that they would like me to stay and have youth church as my placement while I train for ordination. So what that means is from September, I will be able to begin my training and begin training as an ordinand, training to become a vicar, but also will be able to continue to do all the stuff we've been doing with youth and youth church. This is hugely exciting news for us. It's hugely exciting news for Highfield. It's hugely exciting news for youth church. It means I'm not going anywhere, at least not anytime soon. So from September, I will begin studying my master's and doing all my ordination training, but also I will be here still running youth church. It does mean a change in my hours. I'll be effectively dropping down to a part-time role as I have to study on top, but Highfield is already exploring what it looks like to kind of backfill those hours and what that means for the youth department. So all of this is hugely exciting news. We know it means a lot of change, but we know that we're being obedient to what God is calling us to do. I know I'm being obedient to what God is calling me to do. We're hugely excited for what it means for youth church over the next couple of years and beyond. We're excited about what God has been doing in this whole journey over the last 3 years, and we know there's still more to come. If you want to hear more about my journey or more about youth church, then do come and talk to me. Send me an email, drop me a message on Facebook, Instagram. I'd love to chat to you. And if you want to be involved more, if you want to come and be a part of this family, be a part of this journey, then do get in touch with me or Emily or one of the team. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to talk about what it means and what this journey has meant to us and how you might want to be a part of it too.